Hey family, this is my first time actually going live on YouTube, so I am very excited. This is something I've been planning for a while. And of course, right when I was ready to do it, my webcam broke, so I had to purchase a new one. So, hey, here we are. Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, I want to talk to you about how to get through tough times. I realize that right now there's a lot of intense energy going on in the world with so many different people. There's a lot of creativity being put on the board, but there's a lot of emotions being sorted through. We're looking at our lives and seeing the things that work for us and the things that we need to let go of. And this is a very transformational time for so many people all over the planet. And I just want to share a little bit about what I'm going through at this time, and also just give you some tips and strategies that you can use to empower yourself on your journey wherever it is that you are. Okay, so I think I've been looking in the wrong direction. The camera is actually over here. So I'm not cross-eyed, I'm just looking in the wrong place. First time using my camera. So anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dominique D. Wilson. I am the founder of RohiniWellness.com, which is a holistic wellness company that empowers women to love themselves, live their dream, and lead with purpose. I'm also the creator, producer, and host of the Yes to You podcast. And the podcast is really just about providing a platform for women to foster collective healing and social change by telling our stories, talking about the adversity we've overcome, how we are redefining success, and also helping others along the way, because that's what it's all about, right? So anyway, that's a little bit about who I am, what I do. And so, as I said, I want to talk to you a little bit about how to get through tough times. And I know that that's a very broad statement, because what's tough for you could be something completely different from what's tough for someone else. You might be going through something in your relationships right now. You may be going through a transition in your career. You might be going through a lifestyle change where your values are shifting around, and it's kind of that crossroads between, okay, this is who I am, this is who I was, this is who I thought I was, but now I'm discovering something new about myself. And so, how do I move forward in the world with people, places, and things that are not necessarily congruent with who I'm choosing to show up as now, right? So, the first thing that I just want to share with you is that it's so important to, first of all, just honor where you are in your journey right now. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. Even the fact that you're watching this video right now, even if you're catching me on the replay, there's a reason why you were drawn to this video at this moment right now. It's because there's something in you that's desiring to be expressed, and you are in the right place to hear this message. So, the first thing, of course, is to just really honor where you are in your journey right now, and to don't take anything for granted. If you have a certain feeling about yourself or about another person or about a situation in your life right now, you don't necessarily have to take every feeling as fact, but to just honor it, consider it, maybe journal about it a little bit, and find out what is it about that thing. And so for me right now, I realize that some of my priorities are shifting. I am a mom of two beautiful little boys, 3 and 4. And 3 and 4, that's a pretty, that's that age where you're kind of like on the crux between needing a whole lot of help and kind of wanting to do your own thing. And so I'm finding some of my mental bandwidth freed up a bit, and having to adjust my priorities a bit. My children don't need me as much as they did when they were, 6 months old. And so that extra space, that extra time, that extra energy, right? How am I using that? And am I even used to having that? So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. And so my values have been shifting in terms of, how I relate to other people, how I view my role in my family and my community, how I approach my role as a content creator. I've been podcasting since January of this year. I've been blogging for many, many years. I lost count, maybe 7, 8 years. I've also been creating tons of stuff on social media, short video clips, and just inspirational content to help people for so long. But the focus of that, I feel, is becoming more in tune with who I am. I'm 34 years old. I just recently had a birthday about a month ago, and it's interesting how you think you know who you are. I thought I knew. I thought I knew who I was at 21, right? We all think we know who we are in our. You might be in your late teens, early 20s, 30s, and another few experiences, a year rolls around, and you're so different from the person you used to be. And sometimes that's exciting. Sometimes it's a bit scary. And for me, it's just been learning to roll with the punches a bit and to listen really deeply to what my inner calling is and to honor that by not necessarily needing to jump on every thought that comes through, but simply just being um, in a state where I can give that enough space to see what it's there for. So that for me shows up as maybe doing a little bit of journaling or just sitting quietly to think about what's coming to mind and piece through that and see, is there something there that really needs my attention? Is there something there that that holds value in terms of the journey that I'm moving into? So, as I said earlier in this video, that's just a little bit about me and where I'm at. I'm unfolding like a butterfly. I mean, I think all of life, we feel like a butterfly, right? When we reach this new phase in our journey, but at the same time, all of life is this chrysalis. We're always bubbling and boiling and cooking up something new, a new, greater, more expansive expression of who and what we are. And beauty is really found in being open to explore that, to discover that, to question everything, and not make yourself go crazy, but pick things apart. Be curious enough about life to really find the joy in the process of growth. So when it comes to tough times, I know that I went off on a bit of a tangent there. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about my journey right now, my thought process. When it comes to going through tough times, I think it's so important to, as I said at the beginning of this video, honor where you are right now. We don't have all the answers. You could go find a guru. There's tons of them out there, especially now with the internet. There are gurus at every corner, but at the end of the day, no one can tell you what is for you. The only person who knows that is you. And that's not a knowing that necessarily comes overnight. Sometimes it does, depending on the situation. Other times, there's a series of experiences, right, that you create for yourself, that you attract to yourself, so that you can discover in those reflections some things that maybe you didn't understand about yourself, so that you can put the pieces together and understand what your purpose is. So that's why the first step of really just accepting where you are right now is so important. Oftentimes we look at other people, we compare ourselves to the highlight reel of someone, maybe, I don't know, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, in our community circle, right? And we think, oh, I'm not doing as good as this person, so maybe I'm missing out on something, or I'm not living up to my full potential because I'm not where this person is at. But we forget that we are all on a different journey. And maybe if you had that person's life, maybe you wouldn't even feel fulfilled. Maybe that wouldn't do it for you because that's not for you. What's for you is what comes into your life. Everything has a meaning, everything has a reason, everything has a lesson. And there's so much growth that can occur when we are willing to be still, accept where we are, to take a look at all the things that are going on, and be willing to ask, how does this get any better? What am I learning from this? How am I changed by this experience? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this so deeply? What's being triggered from within me, and why is that being triggered? When we can look at our experience and just be in the moment and kind of be a sponge, but be objective. When I say be a sponge, I don't mean that you get emotionally attached to what's going on, attaching a meaning or attaching an outcome that you don't really know is going to be the outcome. But I mean being a sponge, soaking it all in and allowing yourself to feel. And I know that when it comes to maybe if you've dealt with trauma, that can be something that's difficult. But as a woman who's given birth to two children without medication, I birthed both my children at home. One thing that I learned about the difference between pain and suffering is that it's up here. It's mindset. And so when you can approach something from an objective standpoint, even though you're going through it, your body's feeling it, the emotions, the feelings, the fear, the anger, the stress. At the same time, you can be that silent observer and observe what's going on and be objective. You don't have to call a sensation pain, and you don't have to call it pleasure. It can just be a sensation. And you can breathe into that. Just take a moment. I think that we live in a society that forces us to put labels and to understand and explain and justify everything. But that's where we get into trouble. When we try to justify and explain everything, we miss out on what's in it for us. Why are we having this experience? If you're going through a hard time right now, don't beat yourself up. Don't worry about all the mistakes you've made and all the things that you think you did to get yourself into this situation. That's not necessarily as relevant as the process of self-reflection. Being able to look at who you are, where you are, and ask yourself empowering questions. What's the next step? Assume that there is a next step and that it gets better, and make sure you ask the right questions so that you're guiding your awareness towards that next step. So to bring this out of the woo-woo cloud and make it more practical, I'm going to give you a couple of things that you can do to get through a hard time, whether you are in, it could be an issue you're having, as I said, in your relationship, in your career, in your lifestyle, your health. The first thing that I would say to do is to start writing. So if you don't have a journal, go out and grab yourself one of those, you know, blank paper pads that cost you about $1, and um, write. Start writing. If you don't know what to write, set a timer for yourself, 5 to 10 minutes every day. And the first thing you're going to write is, I don't really know what to write right now. I'm not sure what to say, but I just feel that I need to write. And whatever comes out of this, whatever, just write that. Write. It could be utter nonsense. And what happens is, by your willingness to try, to put yourself out there, to get into the creative, expressive process, you give your muscles, your body, all this intelligence that comes. Not intelligence is not just in the mind, it's in every cell and every fiber of your being. You tap into your whole self, and you give every cell permission to speak, to release, to say what needs to be said. Of course, in one journaling session, you may not get through everything. You may get through a lot. You may get through just one particular thing that's on your mind. But the most important thing is to be willing to just write. So grab a pen and paper and start writing. And write for about 10 minutes. And if you feel compelled to continue, then continue. Go until the flow stops or until you don't have any more time to write. The second thing that you can do is to go outside, get in nature. This helps you with grounding. No matter who you are, where you are, we are all physical creations, and our connection to the earth is undeniable. And when we are inside of a building, inside of four concrete walls all of the time, wearing shoes all of the time, with man made things all of the time, we start to sense a disconnect between who we are and then the life force that nurtures and sustains, like the great mother. And so if you can tap into your root chakra, into your groundedness, your sense of connection with the life force, that's going to help you to get out of your head a little bit into your body and find that center of stability, nurturing, groundedness, and peace. So you can go for a walk outside. It doesn't matter where, I don't care if you live in an inner city area, it doesn't matter. Just go outside. There's something cleansing about that. If it's raining, even better. Don't take an umbrella. Wear something that you don't mind getting wet in and go outside into the rain. It's such a beautiful experience to just be in nature with no agenda. No headphones, no smartphone, no place to go, just being. That will ground you. It'll make you feel a little bit lighter. You'll feel more supported. And this is something that you can do no matter where you are. Hot, cold, rain, sun, it doesn't matter. Go outside and connect with nature. So we've got writing, we've got connecting with nature. And the third thing is to get support. A lot of the positive psychology movement nowadays is focused on the self-love, self-care, self-discovery, self. And although that's great in that your happiness, your joy, your power, and love comes from within yourself, there's a reason why we are on this planet with, 7 billion other people. It's because we're supposed to be together. We need other people. Other people can hold up a mirror for you and reflect the parts to you that you might not necessarily notice on your own. This can help you with your personal, professional, and spiritual growth. Other people can help and support you when you feel like you just need to release and be held, whether that's physically or whether it's metaphorically. We all need to be held at certain points. But if you don't share, if you don't talk to people, if you don't speak up, if you don't reach out, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, you'll miss out on that. I grew up in an environment where it wasn't okay to be vulnerable. You were ashamed for being vulnerable because it meant that you were weak. Oh, boo hoo hoo, what are you crying and whining about now? That kind of attitude. And that's just ignorance, different time, different set of values. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what is healthy and what's needed for you. You don't have to tell everybody all of your stuff. But if there's nowhere you can go, I don't want to say can, but if there's nowhere you go to let your hair down, to talk about what's really going on in your life, then it means you're carrying this weight of all of the stress, the questions, the confusion or exhaustion or frustration, whatever, by yourself. Reaching out and connecting with other people, telling them what you're going through is not dumping on them. It's not a disservice to them. It's an act of self-love, and it's also it lets people know that you genuinely want to connect, and so it's not about being positive all the time. Being positive all the time is not authentic for anybody. I don't care how great their life may seem. There is duality. There's positive, there's negative, good, bad, happy, sad. I mean, no matter where you look in nature, nature's laws, I feel like, set the foundation for what's most true and what makes the most sense for me anyway. And in nature, there is duality. And so, yeah, there's times where we just want to drop a few F bombs and sit on the couch, eat popcorn, and pout for a couple hours. And you know what? That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you a negative person. It means that maybe you're in your feelings right now. And it's okay to be that way. And it's so much better when you can share those feelings with another person. And so it's very, very important to get support. And if you're not around people that can hold that space for you, maybe if you're every time you tell somebody, man, I had a hard time in my relationship this week, this happened, that happened, and they say, oh really, me too, this happened, blah 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 blah, you know that can be validating sometimes, but it can also, sometimes if you talk to the wrong people that are not on the other side of their pain, or that just don't have that emotional bandwidth to hold space for you, they can kind of like push you out of the way and make themselves the center of the attention. And you almost feel worse after talking to them than you did before. So it's important to find the right people. So you can do that through things like Meetup. Find a common value, not just interests. There's a difference between your interests and your values. I'm interested in a shit ton of stuff, like seriously, but I value a few things. My values are the things that I stand for, the things that I am willing to fight and die for, the things I believe in with my heart and soul. So when I can go to sites like Meetup or to Facebook groups or whatever and find people that share my core values, then I know, okay, cool, I'm among people who I can open up to, as opposed to saying, I really like, I don't know, roller derby. Let me just open up to my roller derby people. Well, that may not necessarily work. It may not. It just depends on the person. So I don't want to make this too long. I know I've been talking for 20 minutes now. So just to recap, if you are going through a tough time right now, the very first thing, the most important thing you can do is to be kind to yourself. Have compassion. Develop your awareness through compassion. If a 3-year-old came to you and shared, man, this heavy situation is bothering me, how would you feel? How would you speak to that 3-year-old? What would you want them to know? Would you come down hard on them, tell them stop moping and poping and, put on the big girl pants and, no, you would be like, oh, really? Everything's going to be okay. You would want them to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You would want to provide them with, as many guidelines as you can so they can find that light, and to hold that space for them until they're able to do that. That's what you would do with a 3-year-old. So do that for yourself. Have compassion and accept where you are in your journey right now. The second thing is to journal. Make sure you're expressing yourself. And you know what? If you're not a writer, then speak. You can you can even speak into Google Docs if you wanted to, like, blog in your own personal thing where no one's going to see it. You can talk and it'll literally type everything you're saying. You can tell your story in the form of a blog. You can go on a podcast, such as my podcast, the Yes to You podcast. Actually, if you go to yes2podcast.com/guest, you can fill out an application, talk about your story of overcoming adversity and some of the things you're doing. It doesn't mean that you are living this golden, perfect life. No, but if you've gotten on the other side of some things, or if you're working through it and there's some methods that are really working for you that you feel empowered by, you can come on the podcast and tell your story. You can tell your story in a variety of ways. You can talk to your friends and family. And that brings me to number 3, get support. I don't care how strong you are, how spiritual you are, how positive and optimistic you are. We all need support. And if you are telling yourself that I got this, I'm strong, I'll get through it, I don't need to bring people along, then you are you're being led into a delusion. And eventually what's going to happen is you'll become exhausted. You become mentally exhausted. Everybody needs a break sometimes, especially when it comes to dealing with, trauma or a lot of adversity, or a major life crisis or transition or some type of transformation, spiritual awakening even. We all are going to reach that point where we do need to be willing to let someone else walk with us, share the load a little bit. It's not meant for you to carry everything. hope this video has inspired you. Speaking of inspiration, I think that it's very important that we have a vision for our life. You don't have to want to be an entrepreneur or some major big shot. I don't know. Everyone needs a vision. A vision gives you, it gives you something to work forward to. Our life is a big container for what though? For your vision. So what is your vision? In the grand scheme of things, if you can go all the way to the end of your life and look back, what is it that you want to have accomplished? What will make you feel peace? And saying that, you know what, I'm good. I did what I wanted to do. I impacted the people who I wanted to impact. I had the experiences that I wanted to create. I was the person who I valued, and I expressed myself authentically. What is that for you? What is your vision? If you don't know that, I have an excellent free resource for you. It's called the Create Your Vision Workbook. You'll find that at bit.ly/CYV workbook. I'll put that in the comments below. I know that's a mouthful. And what else did I want to say to y'all? So we talked about how to get through tough times. We talked about journaling, getting support. We talked about creating a vision, telling your story. The last thing I want to share with you is that every Sunday is Community Healing Day. This is an initiative that I started just last week. So tomorrow, right now it's Saturday. It's like super late on Saturday night. It's like 11. I'm in Central Time. And so Sundays is Community Healing Day. And what that means is that I will be offering free crystal healing and free distance Reiki to anyone who wants to be involved. So if you have a specific intention for healing or something in your life right now that you're dealing with that you just really want to send some positive energy to, let me know. I want to hear about it. Leave me a comment in this video. DM me. Send me an email, Dominique at rohiniwellness.com, if it's something that you don't particularly want to share publicly. And I will be more than happy to include you. So here's how it works. On Sunday morning, I will create a beautiful crystal grid. And this crystal grid will be inspired by all the intentions that have been submitted to me throughout the week. So this is about collective healing, right? So that will inspire the crystals, the oracle cards, whatever it is I choose to put on this grid, flowers. And then on Sunday evening, if you join me on Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will offer a free distance Reiki healing session. So that's going to consist of a guided meditation to help you relax and prepare you to receive Reiki in addition, right, to the crystal healing you've been getting all day through that crystal grid. And so we'll start with a guided meditation. We'll go into the healing session. And at the end, I'll do a little bit of intuitive guidance using one of my oracle decks. I have many, so it'll just depend on what I feel like using in the moment to give you a little bit of inspiration to carry you through the week. So that's some things that I've got going on. I hope you guys, again, have enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit all over the place. This is my first YouTube live, and I look forward to doing many, many more of these. So I've decided to call this Real Talk. Yeah, so you are listening to Real Talk with Dominique. I'm going to do this every Saturday night. You can count on me being here no matter what. And I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful night's rest. And happy Pride, by the way. I feel a little weird saying that because Pride is every day, but y'all know what I mean. And yeah, so signing off now. Be sure to check the description box for all the links, especially so that you can join me for Community Healing Day tomorrow. I'm so excited. So thank you for watching this, and I just wish you peace, love, and wellness. Namaste. Okay, now I feel silly because I forgot to pull a card. So I'm going to pull a card actually from the Working Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. This is one of my favorite decks because this is all about just really walking in your purpose, and it's very direct about what's needed in the moment. So just tapping into the collective energy, I just want to share a quick intuitive message with you before I go. Spirits, what do you have for my tribe? So I pulled two cards. The first is play. This card I love. It might be a little bright. I don't know if you can see it, but it's this woman sitting in a margarita glass, but it looks like it's filled with champagne. And she's just chilling. This card says, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. I think this is so beautiful because when we are going through a tough time, everything is serious. It's a very intense energy, and it's important to remember that life doesn't happen in the past and it doesn't happen in the future. It happens right now. So you might as well enjoy it and get the most out of it that you can. Look for those moments in your day where you can find humor, where you can find a glint of joy and fulfillment. And give yourself a break. Don't work so hard to the point where you are burnt out and exhausted, because what is the point? If you work 80 hours a week, you're burnt out, exhausted, you can't enjoy your time, then what is the point? That's not living. That's just being and playing this game, this rat race. So it doesn't mean that you disconnect and that you're irresponsible. No, we take care of our responsibilities, but one of our responsibilities, the most important one, is to ourselves. So how can you embrace the element of play in your life on a day-to-day basis? What are some things that you can do that don't necessarily have a serious agenda, that don't necessarily need to make you money or do something for some other person? Some things that are just for the sake of pure enjoyment. That might be taking 5 minutes to meditate, to listen to your favorite song and dance like no one's watching. That might be going for a quick walk, that it could be anything. It could be just enjoying a delicious green juice, and savoring every moment of it. It could be watching something ridiculous on Netflix, because you've been working so much and not allowing yourself to have that time, but just scheduling that time to have fun and to play, and to realize that there's a part of yourself that needs that. That is a part of your medicine, nurturing your inner child. Children play. That's how they learn resilience. That's how they learn to relate to other people. Think about it. Think about when you were on the playground as a kid. Everybody put their shoe in and you went around and decided who was going to be it, who was going to be this, who was going to be that. We didn't need adults to regulate us. We regulated ourselves. There's a value in play. Play helps you develop values. Play helps you develop resilience. Play helps you reduce stress. And play reminds you of who you are. So remember to play. The second card, I'm not going to keep you guys long, is don't dim your light to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? That's what it says on this card. I'm trying to see if I can get this camera to focus. It's not working out, sort of. This is pretty self-explanatory. When we go through a tough time, it can be tempting to dim your light, because if it's, let's say, a relationship, you shining bright might bring out the other person's shadow. A lot of times, the brighter you shine, when it comes to people who are not on top of their shit, who are not living their inspired life, they feel shaded by that. And so they'll throw shade on you and criticize you and question the things you're doing and look at you funny. And you got to remember that you got to know what it is, what's happening. This goes back to having a vision. when I talked about creating a vision for your life. If you know that you are in alignment with your vision, with your values, then the hell with what anybody else says. You got to recognize, am I dimming my light to fit in a situation, to be liked by someone whose opinion doesn't even hold as much weight as I've given it? Or am I going to understand that this person may feel some shade, but I'm going to do what I feel called to do because this is my life and I'm here to live it for me? Because the only way that I can be of service to anyone else is to be the best version of myself that I can be. And in order to be that, I have to be in alignment with what I truly value. So don't dim your light to fit in. That never works out. I've been there, I've done that. And it just doesn't work out. You end up resenting yourself at the end of the day. You miss out on opportunities that are so for you. You end up not even being able to notice gifts that you have when you're super talented and gifted in something that could bring you so much happiness, joy, and abundance. You'll overlook it because you're too busy stuffing it under a rock because someone else in your environment can't handle you shining that bright. Shine bright. Be the sun. The sun doesn't apologize. It rises every morning and it has a purpose. And so remember that you have a purpose. And your purpose is bigger than you. It's bigger than your ego. It's bigger than your insecurities. And it's bigger than what somebody else has to say about what you got going on. So don't dim your light to fit in. And remember to play. So those are your intuitive messages for the week. And I feel those fit right along with how to get through a tough time. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, this has been Real Talk with Dominique, and I will see y'all I'll see you through the week if you're following me on social media. Remember to subscribe to this channel, but I'll see you live again here next Saturday night, and join me tomorrow for Community Healing Day. Love you, and have a good night. For real this time. Okay, bye.